Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Eric Dusick, EM August. As you can see, we got Ableton and some picture-in-picture going. I'm really excited. I think I kind of figured out how I can make Ableton tutorials and stuff that are like nice, right? With that in mind, I just got a little one for you today. So today's topic is going to be how to quickly and easily generate like creative grooves and textures in your music. I say that because when I started out making music, now granted this was in the year 2000, we were really stupid then. We're still pretty stupid, but we have a lot more technology at our disposal that isn't terrible. Back then, even VST effects just weren't very widely available. Good ones anyways, but you did have some built-in Cubase stuff that was nice. I love the Cubase double delay. I wish I still had it. It's probably out there in some torrent site, but I got a new double delay I'm going to tell you about in just a second. But so the point is, when you start off, you probably don't have a huge audio library. You probably don't have a lot of cool samples. And even if you do, like, you probably lay them in your songs and maybe they seem really dry or just, you know, it's like trying to use Scotch tape to put together a quilt. It just doesn't fit right, you know. But whatever the case, I'm going to show you a quick, easy way that you can create, like, all kind of interesting sounds and grooves using whatever source material. So, without further ado, I bought a couple audio damage plugins over the I guess a week or two ago now, and they're actually, they're really great. You know, they're really great. Fuzz Plus has always been Fuzz Plus 2 has always been like a secret weapon for a very thin slicing distortion. You know, Rough Rider's cool. Prodigy talks about using that even on vocals and stuff to give you an idea. Like it's no joke. But everybody, when they look at audio damage plugins, and if you don't know, that's Chris Randall from Sister Machine Gun and a bunch of other great projects and Positron Records, and great dude. EOS is their reverb that everyone is like, oh my god, that's such a lush and great sounding reverb. So I had to get that one, although it's not in this video. Chris has made a really versatile and kind of fun distortion called Combinat. I got that. I also got the Ricochet, which is the double delay from audio damage, and it's really pretty nice. There's some nice filtering, you know, on the high end and the low end. All the controls you would expect, and there's kind of an interesting grid system for setting up how you want the delays. It can give you a real double delay, it can give you almost a reverb effect, and some other creative stuff, so that's cool. I also got one other plugin from them. I guess since I'm talking about it, we can just check it out real quick. That would be under my suites, and that'd be audio damage. That would be the fluid. That's not a delay. I'm sorry. Dub Station was the other cool delay. That's what we're gonna use in this video. That's a more traditional, like, bucket delay, I guess is what audio damage will call it. And look at the sweet UI design on all this stuff. It looks great. Real easy to use. And the last thing I guess I'll tell you I got from them was something called Fluid, which is just a chorus. And it seems like such a simple thing. You know, Ableton's got a built-in chorus, and the chorus is not, you know, what we would think of as a flashy effect, but their chorus just sounds really nice. And sometimes when it comes to plugins, I don't know if you notice, I have about 1 billion of them that I don't use. It's better to just find like one or two you like and stick with it. Get to know them well, understand how to use them, and beyond just learning the tools, it will help give your sound a more cohesive sort of vibe. When you're using 1 million plugins from different vendors, it's always gonna make things sound just even a little more different. Obviously an EQs and EQ and things like that might not matter, but when you get into delays even in choruses, like for instance, I don't know if you've ever noticed, but it is my opinion that some of Ableton's plugins color things in a very Ableton-y way. You can pick them out pretty easily sometimes, which could be okay if that's your sound, man. It's awesome. But if you want to develop a sound that isn't you know, that, or that's just more unique, you know, because lots of people use Ableton plugins, but probably not as many people use audio damage plugins. Okay, I've been talking for like 4.5 minutes, so let's get into the tutorial. So I wanted to try out the plugins. I just set this up a week ago, and I just bookshelved it till I could figure out how to record it properly. Let's name this track Sample. We can delete this MIDI track up here, and we'll name this guy Beat. So what I wanted to get at really with all of this is that you might only have a little bit of source audio, or maybe you just even recorded it in with a microphone, but you can do a lot with it. So here's the audio sample I found to start working with, and I just kind of created a 4-bar loop of it. As you can see, It's not like warped in sync. It doesn't even end on a clean like measure. It's just put in there. So here's what it sounds like. It's a guy complaining.
I don't even fucking like music. I don't even fucking like music. I don't even fucking like music. I don't even fucking like music.
Okay, so that's just like whatever. It's a dude. So let's see what happens when we apply some of these effects we got. The first I'm going to look at is Combinat Diva. This is the distortion plugin. I'm not going to go too into detail because I haven't, you know, taken the time to learn all the features and everything. But at least let you see the really nice UI. And I kind of went through some of the patches. We'll just do that. I know which one I want to use, but we'll work our way up a little bit just to hear what some things sound like. I'll start with the skitters.
I don't even fucking like music.
Kind of
I don't even fucking like
moderate.
music. I don't even fucking like
Like
music.
a little clip at the end there.
I don't even fucking like music.
Whoa,
I don't even fucking like music.
it's the droid.
I don't even fucking like
It's
music.
cool though. That would
I don't
sound
even
cool
fucking
on,
like music.
on harmonic
I don't even fucking
effects.
like music.
Harmonic
I
sounds.
don't even fucking like music.
Whoa.
I don't even fucking like music.
Okay, it's almost
I
like
don't
a
even fucking
warble.
like music. I don't even fucking like music.
I always like
I don't
rectified
even fucking
sounds.
like music.
It's real music.
I don't even
with them.
fucking like music. I don't even fucking like music. I don't even fucking like music.
It's kind of cool.
I don't even fucking like music. I don't even fucking like music.
And this is the distortion we're actually going to use. As you notice, it's not extreme. It's just kind of brightening it up and giving it a little grip. But that's cool. And it always, when you pick distortions, try and look for things that sound musical to you. It's easy to just focus on the high end and like, you know, that specific sort of harmonic you're looking for. But think of it in context of if it sounds musical.
I don't even fucking like music. I don't even fucking like music.
I like the way that distortion brings out some of the vocal content there. Okay. So that's cool.
I don't even fucking like music.
You know.
I don't even fucking.
Alright, but it's still just the thing with some distortion. So maybe what would be fun, you know, a joke we have is, you know, swing is when you sort of manipulate where the 16th notes or whatever grid you're on hit. So they're not quite on the grid perfectly. They're not perfectly quantized, and that's what makes it sound human. And that's why people like swing. So they can write a quantized beat that they understand and then apply some swing, and just like that, it's grooving. The poor man's swing, however, we call delay, because by adding delay to things, you almost automatically get sort of a swinging or grooving effect. So I'm just going to take this ricochet delay, another one of these audio damage plugins. I told you about the kind of the cool grid system, and actually I thought we were using the other one, but we are using ricochet in this example, so that's good to know. This is ricochet, and I know the presets I want to use here too. I'm not going to mess around with it too much, but what's interesting is you can sort of affect, you know, the extremity, or I guess the you know, it's probably a 1 to 128 kind of thing. You can drag these around. You have your grid size. If you go to your mods, you can sort of affect the high cut and low cut frequencies, which is nice. Time, depth, and everything else. So it's a pretty versatile plugin. But just like Combinat, I haven't had a ton of time to dive in. But the presets are so great, you know. Spend your time making songs and sound designing and doing what you enjoy, not learning to make stuff from scratch just because. It's important, so when you need to get a certain sound, you know how, but it's not like people get really mad about presets and they shouldn't, I guess is the point. So let's check this out now.
I don't even fucking like music. 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 I don't even fucking like music.
Now that's pretty
I don't even
good.
fucking like music.
But to me, I think there's a little too much high end stuff. So let's just roll off some EQ here. I'm pulling it pretty extremely down, about 2.5 kHz. So let's hear what that sounds like now.
I don't even fucking like music.
It's just,
I don't even fucking like.
it's a little muted, because if you imagine that this appeared in a song, if you don't mute it, think of how much sonic space just this one little groove takes up with all the distortion high end coming through.
I don't even fucking like music. I don't even fucking like music. I don't even fucking.
Now what's nice is that the ricochet already does do some of that high cut and low cut, so you could control it completely in the plugin if you wanted, and you know, let's do an experiment. So what I had done is I'd add an EQ here just to sort of tamp it down a little bit, and let's hear what that sounds like.
I don't even fucking like music. I don't even fucking like music.
It just kind of creates some of the some space in that high end there, but maybe what we want to do is just mess with this filter. Let's see what this sounds like.
I don't even fucking like music. 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 I don't even fucking like music.
So now you're not hearing any.
I don't even fucking like music.
You're just getting the clean.
I don't even fucking like music. I don't even fucking like music.
Now you're just getting the
fucking like music. I don't even fucking like music. I don't even fucking like music.
So I just want to. Wow, that's gonna get loud. So I'm just putting full mix so I can basically just hear the effect, and I want to sculpt sort of the sonic ranges living in. So let's take a second here. Let's see.
I don't even fucking like music. 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 I don't even fucking like music.
We don't want that really muddy low in there, so let's kill that.
I don't even fucking like music. I don't even fucking like music.
I want some of it though. Put that there.
I don't even fucking like music. 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 I don't even fucking like music.
So pretty interesting, right? Like it's definitely not getting the same EQ sound, but I'm sure it's because I don't exactly know what I'm doing either. Maybe if I worked more with the rate or, you know, the soft saturation or who knows. But it just goes to show you there's a lot of cool effects. You know, I put the Combinat, but this thing has soft saturation too, so a lot of cool options. But so now we have this groove, right? It's got some distortion. It's EQ'd down a bit, both here and here, using their filters, and then just using a straight EQ before it even hits the ricochet. So that's, you know, you can kind of see how that would be a groove. Alright, so that's not bad, but here's the thing, right? So one way you can create these grooves and create these sort of textures is by using effects, right? And you probably are going to need to. But remember, we're also working with audio in this case, and there's a lot we can do with audio. This audio is not really responsive to if we mess around with Ableton's different warping modes. Sometimes when you move from beats to texture or complex, and even just between complex and complex pro, you can get some really neat effects. But we're not really seeing that here. We could unwarp it. It's not actually warped. It has warp set, but the audio is not actually being warped because it didn't know what it was to begin with. We just did that so we can sort of access more of these functions. But I am going to do real quick, and this is always a neat test, is I'm just going to pitch this down one whole key. Sorry, 12 steps. One whole key. And now let's hear what this sounds like. I think it's going to sound cool. Actually, I know it is, but let's see. What does this give us? Oh, nice. If you hear, right, we chose kind of a musical distortion, so we're getting a nice harmonic at a lower fundamental, and the delay is just weighing in, but that's great. I'm going to cut a little more of this low end off because it's really cluttering. Bring even a little more back and make it a brick wall here. I don't like that. You know, one thing that's interesting about this era of production is because of dubstep, everyone got, like, I don't know what it is about dubstep, just because it's extreme and, like, kind of meatheaded, but everyone was like, you know, brick wall, EQ, everything. And even me, I'm like, oh, I bet the brick wall would actually sound better, but it absolutely doesn't. You want the musical. A lot of times you really want the musical, parabolic sort of roll-off. So hear that. It's pretty subtle. I don't know if it's even going to translate in YouTube, but I think it sounds a little better with the softer roll-off there. I think most people would agree. Okay, so now that's cool. So let's bring in the beat here. What is this going to give us? Let's see. I noticed I kind of messed up the delay there because I restarted it in the middle, so it grabbed a weird loop. So let's start over here. Now you're grooving, right? Now you got a nice little texture. You know, this might be a point where you're like, hey, let's sidechain this guy. Let's it's gonna sound terrible because I'm bringing in all the drums, but you know, let's bring it from beat. Can be real extreme. That's interesting, right? To bring that up like that. And I think that's way too extreme, but I do like the side chain just to give it a little more movement. So there you go. Now you've got a groove. Now I'm going to show you one other tip. It's always about getting movement and interesting sort of variations of the sound. And one thing that's really fun to do, I don't know if you're familiar with Ableton, but there's this resampling routing. I'm sure all DAWs have a way to do it, you know, whether it's just directly routing the track. But I'm going to set, actually I'm not even going to resample. Good point, me. I'm going to record from track 1 here directly. Extension in is going to be sample. All right. And what's cool that you can also do, remember we're using plugins, right? And if it's a lightweight plugin that's well engineered, like it seems like this audio damage stuff is, it's not a big deal to switch between patches. So, you know, this works great live with synthesizers, actually, like if you're piping MIDI especially, but even if you're playing it, it can kind of work just to give you like quick changes and effects. But so let's see what happens if maybe, I call it kind of just playing the presets, but maybe what's cool is we can find, you know, 2 different presets. It works best, obviously, if they're right next to each other. So that's usually, you know, if I'm going to try and investigate this technique, I'll find the plugin I like, the preset I like, and then I'll just see if anything directly above or below it's cool. So it would be kind of like this. I don't like that one. So let's see what happens if we move to 24 instead. If you don't notice here, I'm on this Combinat DVA plugin, and I'm just going back and forth between preset 25 and 24 now. Let's see how that sounds. That sounds kind of cool. So if I was trying to, you know, you can't really automate changing presets. At least I'm not aware that you can. So this is sort of a resampling technique because you're going to lock it down to audio. But what you can easily do then is simply, let's go back to our Combinat channel. Just set the routing. We're going to mute it though and go record. And let's do this thing. Alright, it's kind of neat, you know. Obviously, I'm doing it pretty quick for the video, so there's some chopping in there, and I, you know, but you get the idea of what you can do. So now how does that sound? Nice. Now we've got a 4-bar loop of kind of a cool grooving texture, right? And now, you know, because we're in audio, we can start doing a little resampling. So let's just, for kicks, what would happen if we did like some kind of weird stuff here? 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. Let's do this guy twice. Let's 1, 2, like that. Let's see what that sounds like. That one's okay, but it's a little subtle for the end of 4 measures, so maybe we'll put that guy there. What does that give us? That's nice. And there you go. So now, you know, if you ever wondered about resampling, well, that was resampling in action. We had a sample, we had some effects, we pitched it, we recorded it to a new track. Now we're taking this new track and sort of editing it again. You know, I could consolidate this new thing and maybe add more effects, you know, just to really put it in motion. Nah, I don't even need to. But you could add more effects and just, it's like never ending, right? Flatten it, edit it some more. That's the power of resampling. That's also how, if you're not careful, your sound will turn to the equivalent of brown paint. Just too much nonsense going on. So it's very powerful and very easy to misuse. But I think this is pretty neat. I'm going to play it a couple more times, and then we're going to conclude this video. 20 minutes seems like plenty for such a small ideas. Just little ideas, I guess. But I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a comment if this is cool, if this is useful. And I'll try and get even better stuff next time. All right, so this is EM August, Eric Dusick, Breath and Decay, signing off.